here with Joe Lyng, Business Development Manager with Glanbia. Thanks very much for joining us, Joe. I suppose, Joe, we'll get straight into the questions. Glanbia, biggest processor in Ireland, very ambitious expansion done over the last number of years. But I suppose with a big emphasis on biodiversity coming from the EU, what involvement does Glanbia currently have with on-farm decisions, and what ambitions does Glanbia have in this regard?
Hiya, Bruce. First of all, thanks very much for inviting me along. It's great to come back and speak to some Nuffields. I was Nuffield myself in 2018. Okay, so look at Bruce, to answer your question, Glanbia are one of the leading processors, I suppose, not only in Ireland, but across Europe. And there is environmental challenges coming our way. It's something we're very conscious of and have been conscious of for the last number of years. We have expanded significantly. But I'm just going to mention three measures I think that you can link back to any dairy system around the world. One thing that we're doing is what's called our Beef 2020 Club. A lot of pressure comes on dairy farms because the beef calves can often be seen as a byproduct of the dairy system. So we made a decision a few years back to ensure that these calves progress properly and are slaughtered at a younger age than what they mightn't always necessarily be. And this is at an aim to reduce our overall carbon footprint of our dairy herd. So our goal is to slaughter our animals at 16 months, get the most, I suppose, carcass growth in those months when the animal puts on the most efficient weight, and then slaughter, like I said, at 16 months. And the ultimate goal here is to bring down the carbon footprint of the dairy herd. The other thing that we're doing is in relation to biodiversity on farm, which is Operation Biodiversity, we call it.
We're pleased to launch Operation Biodiversity. Operation Biodiversity is Glanbia Ireland's commitment to sustainable farm practices by protecting our land while delivering economic, social and environmental benefits for our farmers and wider community. Glanbia Ireland and our farmer suppliers are on a mission. We're on a mission to make a difference by planting 100,000 trees and hedging plants as part of Operation Biodiversity.
And I think the last thing I'd like to say is, looking forward, although these are things that are active on our farm, we're constantly linking in with the research body, which is Teagasc, and indeed the Farmers Journal, the leading paper in Ireland. And we have a sustainability partnership program called the Signpost Program. And for this, what we hope to do is comprehensively cover areas such as climate action, water quality, air quality, biodiversity, and economic sustainability. Because I think at the end of the day, if everyone is not economically sustainable, it's very hard to progress. The technologies that we hope to use are carbon flux towers and LiDAR studies, and the use of some LiDAR studies. So these are just some measures that we are doing at the moment, and yeah, it's a moving wheel. I think sustainability is a very broad topic, but we're quite active in that area at the minute. And I suppose, like you mentioned at the start, Bruce, these are pressures that are coming from at EU level, and it's very topical.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, with such a massive increase in milk production since the abolition of the milk quotas, what returns is this given to the rural economy in Ireland, and does Glanbia put any resources into community involvement in this regard?
Yeah, I think there's different ways I look at it. I think it's one of the key pillars, or the key, not even pillars, it's one of the key companies in the country of Ireland. And I think not only Glanbia, but all of the milk processors are key companies in what is very much a rural, I suppose one of the key outputs of the country of Ireland is our farming, and milk plays a big part in that. if you talk about Glanbia specifically, we mainly operate in the southeast of Ireland. Last year, we delivered 1 billion euros of revenue to family farms, which is a significant figure across 4,500 farms. There's a huge amount of jobs. We employ almost 2,000 people directly. There's a lot of seasonal work. There's a lot of involvement, like I said, with Teagasc, our research body. And I think when you filter back all that money into rural villages and towns across Ireland, it does have a significant impact.
There is growing global concern around the greenhouse gas emissions associated with dairy production. And with this in mind, how does the Irish production system compare to our competitors, and what benefits does this return back home?
So I think if you look at selling the product that we produce, like, so the milk is processed and then we aim to sell it. So does our competitors or does our customers ultimately mind if we have a lower carbon footprint than the Dutch or the American cows? I'm not so sure if they do right now. Are we leading in this area? Yes, we are. I think the global carbon footprint or CO2 emissions per kilo is 2.5, and we're at I think it's between 1 or 1.2. Our goal is to get to 0.8. Does that resonate at the minute in the marketplace? I'm not confident that it does, but I think it is conversation that is definitely happening with leading customers across the globe. That if you think about the top infant formula producers or the leading confectionery companies, sustainability and sourcing sustainably is definitely an area that they're very cognitive of and conscious of. Are they strict enough to pick one over the other right now? I'm not so sure, but I definitely think that's the direction that it might be going.